one thing I kind of wanted to say before we go tonight. Yesterday was President's Day here in the United States, and we're about to lose one of our last living presidents, Jimmy Carter.
Yep.
And I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about Carter before we go, because I know that you and I are close in age, and we both grew up as kids during the 70s. I don't know what you thought of Carter as a kid, but I'll tell you a personal story. When I was 7 years old, I fell in love with Jimmy Carter, and I went door to door campaigning for Jimmy Carter when I was 7 years old. I was this cute little kid going, "Hi, can I put a Jimmy Carter sign in your yard? Or can I put a Jimmy Carter bumper sticker on your car?" And of course, I was a young, naive kid, didn't know anything about politics, but I knew a good person when I saw one. Kids are very intuitive about human beings, and we just go with our gut, with our instinct when we're kids. We either like you or we don't like you. And I liked Jimmy Carter. There was something about him that I knew was honest. He may not have been a great president, but he kept us out of war, which I think counts for something. He served on a nuclear sub, had a degree in nuclear physics, I believe the only president, which is why he made nuclear disarmament such an important thing. In fact, that was in his farewell address in 1981. It was all about nuclear disarmament and the dangers of nuclear war if we don't control nuclear weapons. That meant a lot to Jimmy Carter. And Jimmy Carter was a peace president, and he has proven himself over the years in his post-presidency to be a man of peace and a man of the people. That's what I would like to say about Jimmy Carter. How about you, Rick?
I liked Jimmy Carter, but I thought he was a terrible president.
You're not alone.
I thought
he got pummeled in 1980.
Yeah, I thought that his handling of the economy was terrible. I remember the inflation, and I was just a kid. It really stuck with me. If there's anyone who made me a conservative, it was probably him.
Right.
Because of what I saw and experienced. And in Canada, that was amplified because we had Pierre Trudeau as prime minister at the time. And then he imposed wage and price controls, which also showed me the dangers of too much government control over the economy at a young age. I had to live through that. And it was not
I remember
good.
sitting at those long gas lines at the pump with my folks, sitting there for 2 hours waiting to gas up the car.
So
1977, 78.
that for me was a lesson in what big government can do, and that helped shape my views on politics and economics at a very young age.
Yeah.
Although strangely, when I was young, I thought I was a liberal, but I never was. It was just fashionable to say it, and I was too young to understand what the difference was. I just wore a red tie when I got to be a teenager because I thought I was a liberal, and my brother told me I was, but I never was. I was always a conservative. If anything, I was a conservative liberal. But Carter,
who did you support in 1980? Reagan?
Yeah. Even though my brother told me I shouldn't, and my brother was a lot older than me, but ultimately, yeah, I said I didn't to make him happy, but I did.
Too young to vote, though, right? You were still too young
I was too
to
young
vote in 1980.
But I saw the popularity of Reagan, and I remember the debate between Reagan and Carter. Yeah, there you go again.
Remember that?
Yeah. The problem with socialists is that they know so much that it just isn't so. All of those things. And I remember the Iran hostage crisis. And as much as I liked Jimmy Carter, I thought in a situation like that, he just didn't have the answers because he was just too nice. And you needed to come up with a solution, and people were suffering because
they wanted a military solution. They were pushing Carter to basically invade Iran, to go in there and get the hostages out with the U.S. military.
And there was the failed hostage rescue attempt.
Oh, yeah.
That again to me showed that there was just not enough competence there. He wasn't really quite the right guy for that job, but a super nice guy. And yeah, I respected all of his humanitarian efforts. I respected his efforts to do
Funny.
things for the people. I just
Yeah.
don't think he was an effective president. I think he was maybe more effective after he left the presidency.
Absolutely, I agree. I think he's a much better ex-president than he was president
Yeah.
because that's not a job for nice guys.
Yeah.
Nice guys don't get elected president. It's very rare that they do, and
Yep.
when they do, they don't last long or do well.
Yeah.
We were just talking about John F. Kennedy earlier, who by all accounts was a very, very nice guy.
Yep.
Probably too nice for that job, and that's the same thing they said about Carter. He's a decent man. He's too good to be president, and he was a terrible president. So there you go.
Yep.
But I don't want to diss Carter while he's on his deathbed. He's 98 years old. He's in hospice, and I see a lot of people online taking this time while the man is dying to grouse about what a terrible president he was. And
No.
I think it would be a nice way to send him off if we remembered maybe some of the good things he did. And here's the thing that really bothers me about the Democrats, especially online, who, President Biden and all the Democrats, they're all paying lip service to Jimmy Carter because he's dying. And they're talking about how wonderful he was. And we must honor his legacy, blah, 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 blah. Well, the best way to honor his legacy would be to honor the agreement that we signed with China in 1979. Carter did that. And I think it was one of the better things that Carter did. It normalized diplomatic relations with China, trade relations with China. It established the one China policy, which of course is being taken apart right now with Nancy Pelosi, the Taiwan situation. The Biden administration is trying to undo Carter's good work while paying lip service to him at the same time. And I find that very, very hypocritical. And I would like to show you, just to close out tonight, a few minutes of speech that Jimmy Carter gave just before that agreement went into effect. This was December of 1978 on the signing of diplomatic relations with China.
I would like to read a joint communique which is being simultaneously at this very moment by the leaders of the People's Republic of China. A joint communique on the establishment of diplomatic relations between the United States of America and the People's Republic of China, January 1st, 1979. The United States of America and the People's Republic of China have agreed to recognize each other and to establish diplomatic relations as of January the 1st, 1979. The United States recognizes the government of the People's Republic of China as a sole legal government of China. Within this context, the people of the United States will maintain cultural, commercial, and other unofficial relations with the people of Taiwan. The United States of America and the People's Republic of China reaffirm the principles agreed on by the two sides in the Shanghai Communique of 1972 and emphasize once again that both sides wish to reduce the danger of international military conflict. Neither should seek hegemony, that is, the dominance of one nation over others, in the Asia-Pacific region or in any other region of the world, and each is opposed to efforts by any other country or group of countries to establish such hegemony. Neither is prepared to negotiate on behalf of any other third party or to enter into agreements or understandings with the other directed at other states. The government of the United States of America acknowledges the Chinese position that there is but one China and Taiwan is part of China. Both believe that normalization of Sino-American relations is not only in the interest of the Chinese and American peoples, but also contributes to the cause of peace in Asia and in the world. The United States of America and the People's Republic of China will exchange ambassadors and establish embassies on March the 1st, 1979, unquote. Yesterday, our country and the People's Republic of China reached this final historic agreement. On January the 1st, 1979, a little more than 2 weeks from now, our two governments will implement full normalization of diplomatic relations. As a nation of gifted people who comprise about 1/4 of the total population of the earth, China plays already an important role in world affairs, a role that can only grow more important in the years ahead. We do not undertake this important step for transient tactical or expedient reasons. In recognizing the People's Republic of China, that it is a single government of China, we are recognizing simple reality. But far more is involved in this decision than just the recognition of a fact. Before the estrangement of recent decades, the American and the Chinese people had a long history of friendship. We've already begun to rebuild some of those previous ties. Now, our rapidly expanding relationship requires the kind of structure that only full diplomatic relations will make possible.
That's right, Jimmy. That's right, Jimmy. So that was what, 44 years ago, huh? Damn, I feel old.
Doesn't feel like that long ago.
No, it doesn't. And look how far we've drifted. And now we're in our 50s, and Carter is 98 years old and about to leave this world. But, you know, no matter what you thought of Jimmy Carter, I hope you'll say a prayer for President Carter, for Rosalind, for their family, and wish him Godspeed. Thank him for all of his many years of service. I think he served his country well. That's my last word.
I miss the before times.
Me too. Just watching that made me miss the before times.
And even though I didn't like him as president, I'll actually miss Jimmy Carter too.
Hey, wouldn't you like to have him back? I mean, compared to Joe Biden, for crying out loud, he makes Carter look good. He makes Jimmy Carter look good, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Thank you, Lori.
Thanks, Rick. Nice seeing you.
Nice to see you. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, Maverick family. Thank you, all the new viewers. Thank you, everyone, for spending the time with us here tonight. We'll be back tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the flip side.
Peace.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.